If you've ever wondered why an old turkey gobbler's behavior baffles you and everyone else, then you are in for an educational treat. Pay close attention over this video series, and you'll learn from over 50 years of experience of being taught by that old turkey gobbler. Jimmy Watley and David Neck are going to share with you in some detail some of the mysteries or apparent mysteries of why that old turkey does a certain thing at a certain time. These men have spent 50 years hunting wild turkeys, and they've learned a lot. Through classroom instruction and in-field experience, Jimmy and David take a group of youngsters through a series of instructional training that provides the most well-rounded education available anywhere, specifically targeted towards the goal of harvesting their first turkey. They'll be teaching young boys and young girls about the basics of turkey hunting, why the old gobbler flies up over a swamp if he can, and why the turkey stays in one spot and gobbles his head off, waits for the hens to come to him. And why do the hens go to the gobbler? Most importantly, what are the strategies that you can use to tempt that old Tom within gun range, so when you pull down and drop the hammer on his head, you'll make a clean shot? Folks, this video series should give you insight and vision into that elusive thought process, if he has one, of the wild turkey gobbler. No matter how much experience you think you have in hunting turkeys, you can never have too much knowledge of this unique animal's behavior. The fun but powerful information discussed in this video series is guaranteed to delight and inform young and old alike. As with any kind of hunting, hunter safety is of the highest importance. Before you enter the woods, we recommend that you have taken all applicable hunter safety courses, you obey all local hunting rules and regulations, and be sure you have a valid hunting license for the area in which you are hunting. Now, listen, learn, enjoy, and get back into the nature of understanding and hunting that old wild turkey.
Contest first or the shooting contest?
Shooting contest!
Shooting contest.
There you go, we got a vote.
Shot was successful. We'll be picking up a flopping turkey.
The best kind, aren't they?
You go on a hunt, like one of those guys that comes with the first time turkey hunter, what sort of precautions do you take?
Most of all, have safety. And depending on their age and their hunting experience, we try to have their father or somebody take them out, let them shoot a gun, to be sure they know how to sit, how to hold the gun, and can hit a stationary target. And then we want them to be in camouflage. He has physical attributes that are phenomenal. One of them, you think an eagle's got good eyes. This boy right here can see 7 times better than 20/20. He's looking at not just, you see his eyes are on both sides. He can see 270 degrees. So he's looking. Not only that, it's like if you had 7-power binoculars, that's how much detail he can see. And the other thing he can do is he can hear. I like to say that he can see you think and hear you change your mind. If you go in the woods one morning and you climb down in a stump hole and make a call, and this boy right here answers you, he knows right where you are, And they tell me that sometime during the day, he's going to come back through the woods and look down in that stump hole to see where that hen is. Because that's how good he is. Don't ever be confused. He knows where you are. He knows the woods. And let me tell you something else. He knows what he wants to do. The biggest mistake you as a turkey hunter will make is to think that turkey calling is the most important thing. Let me just pick up one of these turkey calls on here, and let me tell you. See that made an off noise like that? A turkey hen, she makes all kind of noises. She's not perfect. But if you can go in the woods and make a cluck, turkeys will come to you. Something that this turkey call hadn't been tuned in 2 or 3 years, something just like it is all it takes to kill a turkey. But let me tell you what, it takes a lot more woodsmanship to kill a turkey than it takes calling to kill a turkey. What are these sticking off the side here?
Spurs.
Spurs. And these right here are sharp and they're long, about 1.25 inches. Turkeys are about this size. He'll weigh about 19 pounds. That's an average turkey for South Georgia. Not average. This is a mature bird. He's probably 4 years old. But this is a wild turkey. If you take and look at his tail feathers back here, let me turn it. These tail feathers are even across the end. Does anybody know what the name of a male turkey that's 1 year old is? Less than 1 year.
Jake.
It's a Jake. That's exactly right. And a Jake turkey, these feathers right here will be about that much shorter. And then it'll jump out, come around in that fashion. That's what a Jake looks like. A Jake has got a small beard, anywhere from just sticking out to sometimes 3 or 4 inches long. And they are legal to take in Georgia. And if it's your first bird and a Jake comes out, drop the hammer on them. It's okay. Old Jakes normally don't gobble, but sometimes if there are no mature birds around, those Jakes will gobble and act just like a mature gobbler will. Now, what about a turkey? What do they do? What's their life cycle? We're going to talk a little bit about that. If you think of a turkey, and we're going to start from the time he's born and bring him back around to where he's born again. A turkey will be born normally in June, something like that, May, June. And they come out as poults. And for about the first 7 days, they're going to eat insects, they're going to eat whatever they can, but they've got to eat their own food. Their mother doesn't provide any for them. And then when they can fly up in the tree and roost up in the tree, I've actually seen pictures of hens with little turkeys on their back and under their wings. So anything in the woods wants to eat a small turkey. It's a good eating bird, but one thing about a turkey, when he comes here and hits the ground, he is food for whatever wants to eat him. And everything in the wood likes to eat a wild turkey. If you think about a fox, a raccoon, or anything like that. Coyotes, they love to eat them. Hawks, we've seen hawks come down and try to catch small hens and things like that. But an old turkey, if he once hatches, raccoons eat the eggs, snakes eat the eggs, all kind of things just try to destroy the nest. But if he can get hatched, about half of the hens that have a nest, those half of those hens will actually have the biddies or the poults born, and then about 35 to 40% of those will make it to the fall. And they grow up pretty quick. In the fall, the jakes and the young hens stay with their mother, the hen. And in the middle of the fall, latter part of the fall, the jakes will kind of go off on their own. They get to be a good bit taller than the hens, and they start segregating on. Kind of like, I like to think of a jake like a teenage boy. They just begin to realize that they're different from the girls, and they get to realize they're going to try to go around. And if they see some of the men in the fall, latter part of the fall, and right after the summer, the big toms like this, gobblers, they're off by themselves. They're in bachelor groups. They don't really care anything about the hens. They just walking around feeding. They don't gobble. They'll cluck or putt every now and then, but they stay together as a group. They'll try their best just to eat and enjoy themselves. Then as winter comes, they'll still stay in their bachelor groups, and the jakes are trying to join them, but they don't like to have the jakes around. They'll tend to kick them around and whip them a little bit. And then as we get to this time of year, they still in bachelor groups. And the hens and their poults, other than the jakes that came that year, they still together. Big droves, all together. As we get into last of February and March, these old boys start getting the way they want to gobble. Now what happens is, the way the good Lord made this turkey, the daylight, the amount of time it's got daylight triggers within them their hormone system that it's time to have a breeding season. And so they'll start gobbling. You know what a gobble means to a turkey? A gobble is a signature that I am here. He's the male gobbles. I'm in charge, and he's inviting the hens to come to him to be bred. Matter of fact, the good Lord made turkeys so that this gobble, from this gobbler, is the attraction to the hens. And they come to him and they're bred. That's how God made them. He didn't make them so they go out on their own, or they got a lot of individuality about them. They stay together in groups. And that's part of their safety. But that's part of, in order to kill them, that's how you've got to avoid it. Matter of fact, if this turkey right here abides strictly by how God made him and doesn't violate the instincts that God gave him, he is the hardest thing to kill you've ever seen. He's difficult to kill. In order to kill him, one of the surefire ways is to get him to violate the way God made him. In other words, he's standing on the limb and early in the morning and he's gobbling. And he wants the hens to come to him. The older this bird gets, the more he stays up in the tree until he sees a live hen on the ground coming to him. And I'm going to tell you what, I can do a lot of things in the woods, but I can't look like a live hen. You can't either. You got to be still, and you got to be in a special place. But the idea that you're going to act like a hen with one of these turkey calls here and get him to come to you so you can shoot him means he has to violate one of the rules that God laid out for him. Now, we got the turkey gobbler. He's gobbling, and the hens are coming to him. He'll breed a hen any number of times during the year, the same hen. But all she has to be bred is once. The hen is designed such that when that sperm gets in her, she can keep it. She can keep it active the whole season. Then she'll go out, find a location to put a nest down. It'll be up by a tree in some bushes. They like grass. They like to have water close and food close because she's going to spend most of her day sitting on that nest and protecting those eggs and incubating. But let's just say that this particular hen has gone out and laid a clutch of 8 to 12 eggs. They're small eggs, a little bit bigger than a chicken egg, but not much. And about halfway through the incubation, this old snake comes in and eats every one of those eggs. She comes back and that eggs are gone. She has the capability to go and lay another clutch of eggs using the sperm she'd gotten earlier in the season from that old gobbler. And she'll lay another clutch of eggs and she'll incubate them and they'll be born and they'll be a little smaller in the fall, but they'll make it. Matter of fact, I have heard folks tell of seeing fresh clutch of eggs in August that were hatched and very difficult to survive if you go into the fall without having a good sized turkey. But that's how God made the hen, where she could keep the sperm and she could go at it. Now this gobbler right here doesn't care whether she's carrying sperm, his or somebody else's. He don't care. He wants to breed every hen he can find. During the time when the sunlight is correct, and that is in South Georgia where we are, from about the middle part, the end of February, through the middle part of May, he wants to breed every hen he can find.
You got it. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah! Did you get it? Woo! Hold on, man. Let me go with you. He came, didn't he? That's a big bird.
He wouldn't be still.
But he was in love now. He was in love with us.
That's what I'm talking about. Nice bird.
Yeah, that's a good looking bird.
Look at that wad right under your left foot now. Delivered right there to that old bird.
It is, baby.
Yeah. Look at that. See that?
The wide no.
Yeah, let me have that gun. We'll get it right here out of the way.
How far was that? About 20 yards?
He was close enough where you could have killed him with a switch.
Yep, I was just afraid he was going to go up the left side of me, man. There just wasn't a whole lot.
Hot dog. Is that bird beautiful or what? Look at that.
Pretty bird.
Look at that. Look at that.
Bird.
Iridescent.
Is that the first one this season?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
First one.
First one ever?
First one ever.
Ever.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Yes, sir, buddy.
Well, you think this was the same one from this morning, didn't he?
He sounded a lot like it.
We got on him early, had two others with him,
Yeah.
and he almost came to us, man. I tell you, I thought for sure we was fixing to
You
get
know, when he came up, started up that hill almost, Scott said, man, I have had never had buck fever, but I had turkey fever this morning. And turkey fever's different, isn't it? I mean, it's something.
Yes.
He had a ferocious gobble, and he went on down this ridge.
Yeah, went away from us.
And we went on prospecting back this way, got on, heard a couple of birds, and came back, and just as usual, you know, you always want to try where they were.
One more time.
Hit that call, man. He answered.
He was right there. We set up.
Yeah.
Come right in.
It didn't take him long, buddy. He wanted to come, that's for sure.
Man, what a morning.
I'm telling you. You don't get no better than this.
I told you we're going to take it through the whole season, and we've about got to where this hen has laid the eggs and they hatch. But during that period of time, there's a cycle of things that this old turkey will go through. This old turkey right here, the first part of the season, he has a lot of hens to choose from, because basically none of the hens have started laying their eggs yet. They still having a good time. And this old gobbler will be gobbling, and he'll have several hens come to him while he's still in the tree. He'll fly down with them. He'll breed as many as let him breed them. That's just the way God made him, and that's what he's going to do. Then about 10 o'clock in the morning, the hens will start wandering off. They go looking for a place to lay their eggs, or they'll go get some water, or they'll do something like that. Well, he's not through breeding. He still wants to breed. So if you're out there hunting, and you leave at 9 o'clock, and no turkeys have come to you, you've left the best part of the day alone. This old turkey, after 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock, he's still looking for a hen to breed. He still wants to get with a hen and breed her. And so that's another time when you can be more productive if you'll call, stay in a place he wants to be, and to go in. Now, y'all got any questions about what we just said through the life cycle of a turkey? This old turkey right here, he will not try to come to you because he's curious. An old deer, you make a noise or something, he might come over to see what it is. This old boy right here, he is not interested at all. What he wants to do is to see a turkey hen before he comes that far. If he's got hens with him, about the only way you're going to get him to come is to get one of the hens that want to come see you. One of the techniques we use is we try to make the hen jealous. I'm telling you, I don't know any other way to express it because nobody can get into the head or mind of a turkey. But I've just expressed it in human terms. We try to make her jealous. And a lot of times a flock of hens will have something we call a boss hen. And she gonna make a racket like you wouldn't believe. She'll be fussing and carrying on when she hears something called. Last year we had a fellow from Florida came up, brought his father-in-law. We had a great time. And this hen came up behind us. And when I'd call, she would go cutting right back at me. And there were gobblers out in front of us. And I just shut up because she was mad at me for being in her territory trying to mess with her man. She was jealous. That's all it was to it. And we just sat there, and she came from behind. She walked around us, just talking, and that turkey was gobbling his head off. And lo and behold, two turkeys came up, and we carried one out of the woods with us. You ain't got to be as I said to start with, you don't have to call that great. You just got to know a little bit about when to call and when to shut up. You haven't got to be the finest caller in the woods. There's a great turkey caller named Eddie Salt, and I had been invited to go to Alabama and turkey hunting with him, and we had some customers there. And Eddie can run a turkey call. He can call till the cows come home. But we hunted for 3 days, and he didn't get a turkey, or the people he carried with him. And the second morning out, I went out by myself because he had brought some quote expert turkey calls with him, and we had ran out of customers. So I went out, I heard the bird gobbling, and I sat up on one side of him. I made one tree call. I made one little call. And all of a sudden, somebody cut loose with a mouth yelper over there, and for 45 minutes, he called, and that turkey in the tree would answer. And I heard some beautiful calling, and I heard some great gobbling, because I was sitting right there. But after about 45 minutes, that turkey decided that hen wasn't going to come to him. That wasn't going to happen. So I'm going to leave. And he flew down, and he walked right to me, and I killed him. Now, what does that tell you? It tells you that calling ain't what it's all cracked up to be. This guy over here was calling as good as you can call. And that turkey was gobbling back at him. But you got to know where the bird's going. You got to shut up and let him come to you a lot of times. I was the only one out of that group for 3 days hunting with a world champion turkey caller that killed a turkey. And was that because I was a great turkey caller? No. It was because I knew to keep my mouth shut, and I knew to sit still, and I got in a place that turkey wanted to go. You cannot out-turkey a turkey. You've got to be in the woods, and you got to know what's going on in the woods. Now let's talk a little bit about tactics and how you deal with this old turkey right here. A wild turkey goes through that cycle of up in the tree, hens come to him. As you come through this hunting season, which is the time that we're talking about, later in the season, when they start going and making their nest, the hens will come to him early, but they leave pretty quick. They'll leave pretty quick. And then you got a better chance of calling to you. As you go through the season, last part of the season, the hens just don't ever go to it. They're messing with their hens, their biddies, their poults. They've all got those things under control, and you don't really worry about it. That gobbler is still gobbling, and when you're out there the last part of the season, and he hears you call like a hen, and he answers you, the chances of him coming to you are a lot different. Now, this old bird right here, the worst thing you can do is go out there and sit up in the middle of a field, and he's over in the bushes, and you start calling, and he comes, he wants to see you. He wants to see that hen. Worst thing you can do is set up so he can look 60, 80 yards, and he says, there's supposed to be a hen out there. I'm looking, but I don't see a hen. That don't sound right. And he'll turn and go the other way. The ideal setup is for you to have the woods around you thick enough so that the only way he can get and see whether you're a turkey or not is to be in gun range. The first time you see a turkey, if you set up correctly, if he's in gun range, your chance of killing him is go way up, way up. Now turkeys, I've already told you, can see you think and hear you change your mind. So if you're sitting in the woods and want to cough, or if you want to talk to your buddy, he can hear you. Whispering is something that we do when the time is right. But we try not to do a lot of talking in the woods. Movement is okay if the birds aren't around. But you know something about a turkey. A lot of times you don't know where he is. You don't understand anything at all about it. A lot of times these old silent birds, the only time you know they're there is when they show up. David and I were hunting down there close to Florida one year. Had a young man by us. We'd been calling all morning, and I looked off to the right and I saw this fan up. He was coming, and David decided it was time to call aggressively. And so I had to get him to be quiet. But that bird wasn't answering either one of us, but he was coming. And he walked right out in front of us there, pretty, strutting, carrying on like you wouldn't believe. He earned the right to be shot. And the young man we had with us had missed a turkey already, and he just couldn't get a shot. It was a clear shot, good open way, but he got buck fever. Now, one thing about an old turkey, when he's gobbling and coming in, your heart will be pounding. If he doesn't, you're in the grave. That old boy can make you have a fever. And one of the things I try to teach folks is that get your gun up and be ready. But if I'm sitting still on the ground and the bird comes up and beats me to the punch, which I don't hear him and he just shows up, then there's a way you can kill him, but there's several ways not to kill him. One thing is, you're not faster than an old wild turkey. He gets raised because the bobcats and the foxes and anything wants him. And normally that bobcat's going to jump at him. So a fast action like that, he reacts instinctively and he's gone, just like that. You just can't be quick enough to put a gun on one. If you jerk it like that, he's gone. But it's amazing if that bird is sitting out there about 30 yards and you got the gun across your lap like this, you can kill him, but don't jerk it. That will kill him. This won't. That won't. You can't out-jerk a turkey to get up on him. But you can do this. And he sees motion, and he looks at it, and by the time he has processed it, you can kill him. Now, you can't sit there and aim and just get lined up. You've got to be on it. You learn that by shooting skeet, instinctively shooting quail, things like that. But that's how you go about killing an old turkey when he's like that. The best way to be is to be seated, have the gun in your lap, have you up on your knees, and if you're with David or I, we're going to try to tell you where that bird's going to be so you can be ready. And then another thing you need to know about an old turkey, you say, how can you miss a turkey like this? Let me tell you, if you shoot that turkey down here in the body, you can kill it, but you won't find it. He is a strong bird. He'll run off or fly off, and you can't find these birds. You wound one, you go to looking for him, you may be lucky enough to find him, but the good Lord will have to carry you right to him. It is amazing to me how tough this bird is. So when you get ready to shoot him, you need to shoot him in the neck and head. Matter of fact, I recommend that you put your crosshairs right here. Where the feathers end on this bird is where you put the crosshairs. And you shoot that gun just like a rifle, and that way you'll have your pattern on his head and neck. If you put one pellet in that neck and head, it's all over. He's going to die. He'll go to flopping and carrying on, but he's graveyard. You can go pick him up. He's frying pan. You can put him in the frying pan. And this is good eating bird right here. It's something you really want to do. This bird right here is tough as a gum stump. And don't ever think that he's going to let you kill him just because he likes you, because he doesn't. But I'll tell you, he can be fooled and he can be killed. The most important thing about turkey hunting is knowing the woods. It's not knowing the call. We're going to talk just a minute about woods wise. Wherever you go hunting, and y'all are going to go with David and I hunting, and we'll go to one of about 12, 15,000 acres that we hunt. But it's all land that we've hunted on before, and we know where the turkeys have been in the past, and we know where they're liable to be in the future. And we will have probably hunted that location before. And we're going to try to find a place where we can walk on the roads, make as little noise as possible to get as close to that bird early in the morning. And I'm talking early. We're going to be there before you can't see your hand. And we're going to let the woods wake up. You're going to hear an old howl off in the distance. He's going, a barred owl going to call. And if we're lucky that morning, this old boy will say to that owl, he'll gobble back at him with enthusiasm. It's amazing. He don't like an owl, because owls like to eat the poults, but he'll gobble back at him. If somebody's riding down the road and they stop and slam a door, he'll gobble at a loud noise. Early in the morning up in a tree, he likes to gobble. That's what he likes to do. And we'll sit in the woods, we'll hear where that bird is. We'll know where the feed patches are. We'll know where the roads are. We'll know where the creeks are. We'll know where the rivers are. We will know the woods like the back of our hand. We won't know them as well as this boy does, but we'll know. And then we'll have to make a decision. We'll say, which way do you think he's going this morning? How many gobblers are there? If you've got two gobblers in the woods, if you can get between them, jealousy will come into play. It's real. One gobbler is jealous of another gobbler. Just like you and I. Jealousy is one of those emotions that we have, and it ain't something we ought to have, but it's something we got. And the devil will use that jealousy just like we're going to use it to try to kill that old gobbler. You get between two gobblers, and you start calling. One of them answers and starts to come. Invariably, this one will say, I'm not going to let him have that hen. I'm going to, because he's going to fight. That's how they decide who the big dog is. They fight among themselves. And the winner gets to breed the hens. And so you get them, and kind of the way I've decided is first come, first serve. When I get between two gobblers, and they both come in, the first one that gets there is the one that gets to go home with me. I don't try to wait and see what the other one looks like. First come, first serve. I try my dead level best to do that. There's another time when this old gobbler is pretty vulnerable. If you can find two that are together, this same jealousy comes into play.
Head was up. That was back in that bottom gobbler. And I don't even know if this is the big one that was over here. You think the big one went over too? Because I know there was a long spell there when he did the gobble.
Son, that's 11, 12 inch. Wow. Man, look at that show.
That was both.
That's about an 18 pounder. Let's go measure that thing, son.
Even without a spur, I'll take that. Well, thank you.
Son. That's special.
Thank you.
Nigel, now you see how it's supposed to be done, don't you?
That was amazing.
You didn't move enough and you didn't scare the bird, so that's good. You get part of the credit.
All right.
David gets most of it because he kind of brought a bird on.
But it is amazing that if you got two, it's there again easier, because they expect the hens to come to them, but if they think the other one's getting just a little bit ahead of them, they'll come right on. And you know something? If you think about the trouble you as an individual have gotten into, it's normally when you was somebody else. I know one young man here, I won't call his name, but he's got 4 brothers. And more than likely, they can get in more trouble together than they can individually. Casey, is that right? He's grinning. He's saying, yeah, it is. But I know growing up, I could get in more trouble if I had some friends with me. And that's the way that old turkey is. He can get in trouble if he's jealous and wanting to go, because they think, can't nothing happen, there's 2 of us. We can whoop anything over there. He can't whoop that 12 gauge, boys, I'm gonna tell you that. If you put it in the right place, that 12 gauge will drop him down and make him flop. 2 together is there. But there is a protection that this old turkey has. When he is there with the flock around him, when there's 10, 12, 8 total turkeys in a wad, I'm telling you, those eyes, all of them are looking. All of them are wary. All of them are trying to see an enemy. And there is some kind of protection in numbers. There's protection because he's got the hens around him and the immature gobblers around him. There's safety in numbers for them. It's just like if you're at home with mama, you ain't in trouble. That's how God laid it out. But if you're out on Saturday night at the honky tonk, chances are you're going to be in trouble. Because there's no protection there. You don't have the protection of that location. He'll roost at night in the woods up in a big old tree. He likes to be up in a tree where nothing can get to him. Matter of fact, he likes to roost over water. If he can find a beaver pond or a sinkhole full of water, he'll fly out in the middle of that and light in a big old tree just to be protected. He knows that bobcats don't like to swim. And so, a raccoon might come up there, but he ain't worried about a raccoon. Bobcats don't like to swim. And so there's very few bobcats that will climb that tree at night and try to get him off that limb. Protection. He's staying in a safe place. If he was down on the ground, like you might be going to the honky-tonk on the weekend, that's where you're going to get in trouble. Gentlemen, this old turkey is complex, and he's hard to read and hard to figure out. I've tried to speak to you this morning a little bit about turkeys and how we think they think in our terms. I'm speaking as though they were thinking like we are. But you got to try to figure out what's on that turkey's mind so you'll have some idea where he's going. Because you've got to influence him or you'll never get a shot at him.
You go on a hunt, like one of those guided hunts with a first-time turkey hunter, what sort of precautions do you take?
Most of all, have a safe experience. Mm-hmm. And depending on their age and their hunting experience, we try to have their father or somebody take them out, let them shoot a gun to be sure they know how to sit, how to hold a gun, and can hit a stationary target. And then we want them to be in camouflage. We're going to spray them with something to keep the ticks and the mosquitoes away. We don't like mosquitoes. We're going to keep mosquitoes away. We don't like ticks. David and I use something that, matter of fact, we'll give y'all all a can of it. So when you go hunting, you can spray your clothes and no ticks. Last 8 years, we haven't had a tick on us other than one time I rolled my sleeve up, it was hot, and I found a tick and it's fallen on my arm. But they won't be on your clothes, chiggers won't bother you. We try to give them a total experience. If you go out and get ticks on you, mosquitoes eating on you, that doesn't make you happy. So we try to control all of those things. And the other thing we try to do when somebody goes out first, we want to scout it. We want to know that the odds are greater than 75%, we're going to at least hear a bird call. We want to hear him in the woods. And we'd like to work him, and we'd like to have him come up to us, and I'd love to have a person at least have a shot. If they miss, so be it. But if that bird is gobbling and is close, and if that person's heart can go to beating just like that, you've had a successful hunt, whether you pull the trigger on them or not. But those are the things we try to go through, especially with a first-time hunter.
How many people do y'all get a year?
The most we've ever carried with a successful hunt was 7. That first hunt we showed you where Chase killed his first bird out in that field, we had 7 people around the field.
That's a dog. I see his beard. He's got a beard.
Yes, sir!
You nailed it, bird!
We had 7 people around the field. But the more people you put in the woods, the more difficult it is past 2. One person can kill a turkey, but 2 people, the right people, have a better chance of killing a turkey. If David and I go hunting, and we are there to kill a turkey, he'll be behind me calling, I'll be behind him calling, we'll call together like we got a flock of us over there. There are things you can do if 2 people are in the woods, especially 2 that have been before and know each other, that there's a better chance of killing a turkey than just one person by himself. Now, I like to hunt by myself, but I really like to take somebody. That's the fun. I used to say I don't want anybody to go with me, I want to kill the turkey myself, but the truth is, I have more fun when you kill your first bird or get your first positive experience.
Brother Jim, what happens, like say for instance, you have some land out there that you're trying to hunt some turkey, and you might have multiple hunters. Is that something that y'all have happen from time to time, or do you normally like to just have a group, or just, you know, you and another hunter and just hunt the whole land, you know?
First of all, I don't like to be hunting where the other hunters are. It's just not safe to me. And so when I go to a place, I'm a member of several hunting clubs, and I'll say, you can have that. I give them the first pick. I have never picked first. You know why? It's because most of them are not going to kill the bird anyhow. And the second thing is, I want them to know that they've got first choice. And I'm going to be going 6 days a week, and they probably going to go hunt on the weekend. So I give them first choice, and wherever they want to go, I leave them alone. All I'll do is go and pick my spot. After that, then I'm a safe spot. But let's just say I'm hunting on a place, and I hear another hunter over there. The first thing I do is leave them alone and go the other way. Safety is the most important thing to me. And I'm going to be going back, the good Lord willing, and I want to give that person a good experience, but the person with me has got to be a safe experience. And so I leave people alone. I'm not greedy about any turkey hunting because I got a lot of play. If there's too many folks there, or there's not, we'll pack up and go somewhere else where I've got exclusive hunting rights on all that acreage, and there won't be anybody. So that's how I treat that. Well, go ahead, Tom.
How many turkeys have y'all taken home in one hunt?
Well, we carried 2 brothers one time. Matter of fact, we'll show you the film next time. We carried 2 brothers one morning, and neither one of them had ever killed a turkey before. And we sat down with our back to a fence row. It was foggy. And we called in 5 jakes. Had one on each side of me, and I said, would you like to kill a jake? Oh yeah, they want to kill a jake. And so I counted to 3, and they shot together. Boom. And they both killed the jake. And the big gobblers were back in the swamp, still gobbling. And so we said, would you like to go after them? And of course they did. So we circled around, went down in the swamp, sat down and called up 3 longbeards. I mean monsters. And David was sitting by them this time. I was behind them calling. And he said 1, 2, 3, and they both killed a longbeard. Wow. 1 shot apiece, same time. And both of those longbeards were double beards. So that's what I call a double. Yeah. Matter of fact, we might watch that video right now. David, have you got it?
I got it. Congratulations. Let's go on out there and get them.
You believe that, son?
Finally.
I'm telling
Finally. Y'all got two fine birds there, boys. Put your foot on his head. Go put your foot on his head.
No, just put your foot on his head.
Go put your foot on his head.
You know, the big one, we never shot the
I
big
know.
one. The first one that came in, we never
The
shot.
dominant bird, yeah.
Yeah.
Justin got the biggest sword.
Listen here, them's two fine birds, boys. Look at the hooks on that thing, Dave. Look at the hooks. Look at the hooks on that thing. Sharp.
Sharp.
Precious alive. God.
You boys have had a great morning.
Appreciate you bringing us.
Okay, so if you actually have two hunters, both have guns out, ready to shoot, cocked and loaded, do you normally give courtesy? If I'm on the left side, I'm going to shoot to the left, and the same thing goes with the one on the right, shoots to the right?
If you have two birds come in, everything you said is correct. But if you have one bird come in, we have already determined who will get the first shot. And we're going to have our two hunters up where the field in front of them, either one of them can get a shot at it. So we will have determined those issues before we go.
Okay.
I mean, there's no need to be flipping coins and arguing, and once you get in the woods with a loaded gun. That ain't gonna happen, not with me. We're gonna have it laid out. But I tell you what, it's a lot of fun to go with somebody and to see it happen. It really is. Next question, come on. Casey, you ready? Go ahead.
How long does an average hunt take?
Until it's over. We normally will go in the woods 20, 30 minutes before the sun, before you can see it. And then we're going to stay in there till we're through with the birds we're working. But most of the time we're out in time to eat breakfast about 9, 9:30. And sometimes there's a lot of walking, sometimes there's a lot of sitting. But almost every time we hear gobbling. We work in birds. Because the good Lord has blessed South Georgia with a lot of birds. A lot of birds. Yes?
Well, I've had to do with my turkey hunting with my dad a lot, and a lot of times you can't see their spurs or their beards, so is there any way else to tell if it's a gobbler or not?
If you've got a blood red head, red is one color on a turkey, you can shoot it. If you see a white head, like a light bulb, you can shoot it. But I prefer to tell folks that beard is there for a reason. If you see him gobble or you see a beard, you can shoot him. Now, in Georgia, the law on a hen is about 10% of the hens have a beard. If that bird right there has got a beard and you can tell it's a hen, it's illegal to shoot. If you shoot a bearded turkey and it's not a gobbler, it's illegal. Now, the game warden next week will tell us whether he's going to prosecute you or not. But he'd probably prosecute me because I've seen a lot of turkeys. And I promise you, I can tell the difference between a bearded hen and a turkey gobbler. I can tell the difference. But one of y'all might get some grace. Let's just say you're hunting and you shoot a bearded hen. He might not find you. But he'd find me because I can tell the difference. But that's the law in Georgia. Alabama, if it's a hen and got a beard, you can shoot her legally. Florida, I think that's the same rule. But in Georgia, if that beard, Georgia and Florida together, if it's a hen, whether there's a beard or not, it's illegal to shoot. If you're with me, I'll tell you when to shoot, okay? I'll tell you whether it's legal to shoot. And if I tell you wrong, I'll hit you, okay? Next question.
When you go scouting, do you normally scout out a lot of the hens, just like for as how they call, for as what they sound like, and and that way kind of to draw the gobblers out, or is it just something that you just kind of, each case is different, I think?
Every hunt is unusual. And the hens, every hen's got a different vocal pattern. But when I'm out there and I'm talking to a turkey and he's answering back, and sometimes an old boss hen is answering, if she's aggressive, I get aggressive back to her because I want to try to get her to come with me because I'm in her territory. Because if that hen comes, that gobbler's going to follow right behind. And then I'll say, thank you, ma'am, and then I'll shoot her fellow. That's how that works. Next question.
When you're calling, like, are there any calls you want to avoid, or any calls you want to play more on?
What we got is about 3 different basic kinds of calls. You got the mouth call that's in your mouth all the time, and I use that when they get close. I use it mainly to calm them down and to just putt and purr and bring them in a little closer. Then you got your box call. Your box call will reach out, and people tell me it sounds more like a turkey hen than any other call. This box call like this right here. And then the other call is the slate call. And I prefer the slate call for long distance because it will reach out. This particular one right here, I hate to tell you how many have been killed with this slate. If you get out there and they won't answer, they'll answer this baby right here. When they respond, and you can putt, you can purr, you can be excited with this, and you can make a turkey gobble with that baby right there. Using different kinds of strikers, it makes a difference. But once they get in close, I generally will not move my hands at all. I got my gun here, and I'll just and settle them down and bring them right on in. But you ain't got to do anything. Once you got them coming, they gonna come. And when they get those turkeys, when we sat up and you saw the turkeys that we killed the 4 that morning, when that turkey basically came around the edge and got in the road, we could have killed him from the time he made the turn. When you can see that turkey, you need to be able to set up where you can kill it. That's the rule of thumb I try to use. I don't, that first turkey that we landed in the middle of the field, I don't like field turkeys because they can stay out of gun range and you know, they hadn't got to come. You got to really be on your game to get them out of the field.
Your dad just got him a turkey. Buddy. Let it go, buddy. Give me your hand. You did good. That's a turkey.
Congratulations, son.
Congratulations. Yes, sir.
Congratulations, young man. You up together for the first turkey.
Congratulations, son. Is that pretty? Is that pretty? That's pretty.
Brother, now that's special. Well, I didn't call much now. That thing right there did his job too. Oh,
let's go look at it.
I tell you. He put on the show. Look at that head, son. You wore his head out. Look at that. See what hellfire will do for you? Look at the hooks on that bad boy. Gene, my brother. That's 1.25 inch sharp spurs.
Thomas. Here it comes from the left.
See, it's coming out of the bushes.
Raise your gun. Second shot. Who did that? All right. That was awesome. Did I get him? You got him in the air. Well, he got him too. He got him. He hit him good.
Congratulations, buddy. David, that's a fine bird, isn't it?
That is a fine bird.
That old bird has been breeding.